even those who put them into the quality entity needs to be. You have learned the lesson. You have not learned that the politicians you are just for when you are victimized for your needs. There should be a lot of lessons that we should learn as well. To stop putting our chest before the problem for politicians, especially Liberian politicians. Who are campaigning, they change at any time. Only for the space coming again, they will be jumping from one political party to another. It's not very minutes from one political party to the party that may be to jump from one political party to the party. Seeking power, that's lack of credibility. That's lack of integrity. They will show that those things again in 2023. It's already started. Some of them started already. You are seeing that. But you will still be behind these people and putting your chest before the bullet for them. You need to read between the lines and stand up for something so that you don't fall for anything. Thank you. We want to stop here and we'll take a break. We'll come back. We go over to our guests. Let's take a break. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but you are all the time. What do you have been?
We can come some more.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. The computer is not connected. It's okay. My battle silent.
Once you call or go there, Allah will protect your need and run after the corruption case so that those who are stealing public money can be brought to justice. But then I'm going to report justice.
Yes, welcome to the Advocacy and Legal Advice Center. We received a complaint and we are to process your complaint and follow it on your behalf. Thank you very much. The program you are in tune to is called Integrity Watch. It's a 1-hour radio program brought to you by the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia. It is aired every Thursday on ECOWAS Radio 91.5 FM and is relayed on Prime FM in Monrovia. Prime FM is on the assigned frequency of 105.5 FM. Today, we have in studio as our guests the coordinator of the Advocacy and Legal Advice Center at ALAC, at CENTAL. He has introduced himself. He is acting as a Nyantte, Junior, for that matter. And he's in studio with us today, and then alongside the Gender and Inclusion Officer at the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia, Dr. Akiah Precious Glay. They are in studio, and then let's begin with Isaac. Isaac, how is ALAC? Just give us a little information about ALAC.
Again, thanks for the time, Sam. ALAC is doing well in terms of ensuring that we have more persons reporting matters of concern that borders on corruption. We've left from year one, we were around 20 persons that we projected, and we surpassed that number we went around 76 person reporting. And even at year two, we have increased that number. So, yeah, more persons have gotten to know about the center and even the number of cases that we've heard and forwarded. I think it speaks volume of the concerns being raised by Liberians to demand for and take action against government, like against corruption.
Okay, Dr. Glay, let's hear you. How is the open expenditure, and then we come to the gender.
Okay, so
before you start, Dr. Glay also coordinates our open expenditure initiative, so that's why I'm asking her about the open expenditure. The open expenditure, she's going to talk about that, and then she will come to her actual role as gender and
actually both of them are my actual roles.
Okay.
So, yeah, so at CENTAL, he rightly said that we have an activity that is called the Open Expenditure Initiative. where we have county leadership accounting for the county social development funds. And so we basically monitor the county social development funds to ensure that there's transparency in disbursement, participations of citizens, and the project, the actualization of the funds that is then disbursed. So in this first phase, we had this open expenditure program planned, and we were here a few months ago talking about it. So we worked in Grand Bassa, in Riverses, in Nimba, in Bon County, Bapulu, and Bombing and Mosurado County. So we hosted open expenditure just one forum last year, and the first phase of the NIBA program. The NIBA program is the National Integrity Building and Anti-Corruption Program. So we hosted just one phase of the open expenditure, where one open expenditure forum in each county. So basically, we hosted 7 open expenditure forums in the first inception phase. So we brought citizens together in a single space with their leaders to discuss issues concerning or surrounding the county social development funds. And issues that raised from those forums helped us to build on or improving the second phase of the program. So some of the things that occurred during the first phase of the program was that the forum was citizens felt disenchanted. They felt that their input wasn't made when it comes to project implementation. They also felt that they have no clue or maybe less clued about projects implemented in their communities. And they did not liaise with those contractors. That also was very contrary to the law that says, the PFM law, Public Financial Management Law or Act, and the budget law section 9, which is now section 10, that talks about the disbursement of the money and what should occur during the process. So yes, based on those complaints and those recommendations, the second phase of this NIBA program that just ended, and we now incorporated other activities that will enhance citizens' participation and involvement in the county social development funds. And some of those activities were, we now, instead of hosting open expenditure just once a year, we decided first of all to get first-hand information. So what happened, what we have done over the years, over the period, is we attend county sitting. So because within county sittings is where the county social development fund money is brought, is where the projects are identified and then resolutions are made. So we attend county sittings, and afterwards we do follow up to go to those projects that were resoluted within those county sittings, monitor them, and then our findings from the field is then when we host this open expenditure and bring the people again, the leadership with the citizens and other civil society to display the report and findings from the field, from what we have collected, and then to get their input. So this year we did a lot on our open expenditure. And when we come to gender, as I said, these two activities are co-activities that I'm involved with. So when it comes to gender, we also did a lot because CENTAL co-function is we speak corruption and we speak against corruption, and we try to build a culture of integrity and transparency in Liberia. But taking into consideration gender issue is key. So for us, gender-based violence or sexual gender-based violence is something that we do not dive into too much. But if the report comes at ALAC, we helped for the victim to seek redress, and we refer them to relevant institutions. But what we educate people on is the economic gender-based violence, the violence that deprive women of their rights. So when we speak economic gender-based violence, we're talking about unemployment, because women are not employed, so therefore they become dependent on the male counterpart. And so another thing is when they are not employed, then sextortion comes in, because when they went to school, for an example, and just the professor want them to bribe them, and they don't have money, so they are not employed, they cannot get money even. So they also now exchange, instead of money, they exchange sex for the professor demand them to give him sex, and then he gave grades. So these issues are issues that we have been advocating, we have been creating awareness in the community. And so under gender this year too, we did a lot. We even we did a lot. We even interview other people that been in our forum. So this year we had increased number of females and males in our forums. So we wanted to realize the impact of our messages, especially when it comes to the gender issues. So we drafted our questionnaires in the 6 counties. We sent those questions to male and female that we identify that frequently visit our forums, our meetings, and we ask them questions. Some of those questions were, for example, what is gender? Because the culture of gender here that we have understood over the years is a female thing. So when you talk about gender, they say, well, it's woman issue. So part of our awareness was to tell the people that gender.
Yeah, I want to hold you there.
Oh, okay.
We'll come to the gender to go into the discussion about gender, but let's talk about, you talked about attending county sittings, you talked about monitoring, and then hosting of open expenditure forums. So I want to know, when you attended, what were the findings from the attendance of county sittings? What did you see?
Oh well, the thing is, we have attended numerous county sittings, but basically, I will compare last year to last year 2021 and this year 2022, and my case study will be on Grand Bassa County.
Okay.
So we attended 2 county sittings in Grand Bassa County last year, and thanks to the people of Grand Bassa also for affording us the opportunity to attend. So we attended and we made remarks, and so they welcomed CSO to talk, and CENTAL was one of those, the only actually CSO that spoke there. But there's something that we found out last year, and it kind of became quite different this year.
Okay.
So last year, we found out that citizens were actually the delegates. Delegates are those people that's the people that are supposed to come to make decisions.
Yes.
And the observers are those ones that just come just to observe what is happening. So we observed. Now we were part of the observer, of course. So we observed that citizens. Citizens were not given enough ample time to ask questions. So the leadership of last year brought the report in to the county sitting few minutes before the decision were made. So in that, they're supposed to have had that report, scrutinize it and see where the pitfalls are, what projects, and understand, so that when they get in the hall, they can ask questions. But no, well, as he just came and gave it to them, so no one had authority. They didn't even know what was in the document to ask questions.
So what changed?
What's changed this year is that the citizens now, actually this year, the citizens, Grand Bassa have problem with the hospital. So the citizens, their input was incorporated. So the citizens said that the money that is here, most of it, they decided that most of it should go to the hospital. So most of the money went to the hospital, and not just that, the orphanage. Orphanage, it was the first time in the history of Grand Bassa for money to go to the orphanage home. So the orphanage were outside at that moment, where we placard that we also part of citizens of Grand Bassa, we need help and we are not getting help. And the citizens within there that passed by and saw them standing with those placards made a case in there that those people need help, and the money were also allotted for them. So that means gradually the citizen voice is being heard. And thanks to many advocates, including our from center also, because our intervention has changed a lot of things in those areas. Okay, in monitoring, the issue is still a cut across all counties. In monitoring, we still monitor the misapplication of funds. We still monitor. When I say misapplication, I mean the money is purposely for another thing, but the leadership takes and go and do another thing. We still saw a lot of buildings that are unfinished or abandoned, and we just did not just see them and leave. But I will give a case study which I would take into consideration. Bapolu County. In Bapolu County, 2015, a project, not even a project, but about 3-4 projects were built in Bela Yala, clinics and guest house, and so those projects are abandoned, and the money we're talking about 94,000, approximately 94,000, and so we went to citizens and asked, why do you think these places are abandoned, and what happened? Who were the contractors? And only to find out that the sitting representative at that time is his son that was the contractor for that project. So we see the conflict of interest. And because of that, the project is unfinished, because he now, if the son ate the money and cannot complete the project, the father cannot do anything about it. So the project remains. So those are some of the few things that we saw. But when it comes to, some other projects were finished in NIBA County, the Grand Bassa County, they are relatively doing well when it comes to project implementation. But again, it can be attributed to the funds that they are getting. They are, most times every year they get funds, and also from Estella Meta and other, but the other counties barely get money, or even if they got, normally they should get 200,000, but since 2018,
through the from the government.
yes, since 2018 they get 100,000, and the government credit the other one to be paid time indefinite.
Isaac, let's get to you. The advocacy and legal advice center. How is it? You talked about the achievements, some of the things, the successes scored. Let's go to bit by bit.
Yeah. At the ALAC, as I stated from the initial, we started at a low pace because we had to do awareness. We projected 20 cases to be received in phase 1. We had around 76 cases coming in. And then subsequently we went to phase 2. But in phase 1, we were able to make some intervention into the cases that were received and outreaches that were carried out. And then we went on to phase 2, where we had an increase in cases. As I speak to you, because the thing is, yes, people are reporting. So when people report, and so what? And so there is a awareness that takes place at community level, and people have an idea of what the ALAC Center is about. And so they place in calls, and what happens next is that they register these cases to us. So what we have been able to do is to ensure that we can do some mediation and some forwarding. Most recently, the Liberian Tax Corruption Commission, the former, forwarded 2 of our cases. One had to do with NICO. NICO is a National Education Coalition. There was some funding meant for education work that was done by some coalition members. Those funds were allegedly misappropriated, and that matter came to us. We reviewed the facts, we made an intervention, and we forwarded it to the LCC. That matter was concluded by the LCC, and the perpetrators are being forwarded to court. Similarly, another case came to us in phase 2 that had to do with the Planned Parenthood Association of Liberia. Also, that was donor funding. It came to us, the leadership at the time allegedly misappropriated what was meant for the program. And then it came to us, we took it on, we investigated, we started the panel, and we drew up our facts, and we had that matter filed to the Liberian Anti-Corruption Commission. And of course, it was part of the most recent cases that were filed in the Ministry of Justice for onward prosecution. So ours is that it is not for us to only have these cases, it is to make an impact. If people are reporting matters to you, when they report these matters, what happens next is the most important thing at the level of the ALAC. And in terms of visitations, we've made our presence felt in the 7 project counties and beyond. Because take, for example, when we sit on this platform, especially on my radio, ECOWAS Radio, it goes across the country. And so part of the cases we have received, it is not limited to project counties, it goes beyond project counties. And so these cases that we are able to make our interventions in are far beyond just the counties we have, but it also cut across the counties in Liberia. And we can fairly say that the young people are reporting, because our intention is to ensure that people have had issues with the justice system. So what can we do when you report this matter that your identity will be disclosed, and we can make an impressed by the number of small corporations. I'm going to sit here today and say that we receive a lot of cases that put us on power theft. And in most recent time, we paid a visit to a farm community where we receive a matter from, and based on our findings, we were able to go to the LEC station across the bridge, and that matter is with them. And we're interested to note that the matter that we reported to the head of power theft, he informed us that he controls power theft in Liberia, and that has never come to his attention. And so, yes, we are not only sitting at the offices, we are making impact. And for year 3, we intend to diversify the work at the ALAC. Not because when you move around the different communities, you move around the different schools, we use banners, we use placards. Sometimes these posters that are placed on the walls get dropped off. So what can we do to ensure that we diversify the work? We intend to move to schools and print carpet books. We intend to use pen. We intend to use different forms of communication so that you can move and work within a daily basis. Whenever you encounter any form of, corruption, you can report it. Most, even if it's 2, we had a matter that came from the ministries of transport and foreign affairs on people extorting money from people. And so we want to move to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I must be very gracious to say that the passport director was gracious enough. We sat with him, and that person, through our intervention, was able to receive the passport because whoever they came in contact with already extorted some money from them. Similar thing happened at the Ministry of Transport. And that's what maybe later on will bring us our conversation on the National Integrity Forum that speaks to the people.
Just transition.
Yeah, so to transition to that, at the Ministry of Transport and several other institutions that provide service delivery, there is no information to the public on the services that is being offered, the cost involved, the procedures involved. The case came to us from the Ministry of Transport that somebody had gone to process driver license and could not get a license after they had made the required payments. We had to move in, we had to move to the head of certain bureau there to ensure that that particular person got it. And after we made an intervention, that person was able to obtain the license. But then the question is, how many persons will have the ability to come to us and how many persons will be able to report this matter? So against that backdrop, the National Integrity Forum, which is a conglomerate of CSOs and anti-graft institutions in the public space, have made it as one of their projects to erect signboards at public integrity institutions that provide services. We've done one at the Ministry of Internal Affairs for those of us who go to obtain certificates for customary marriages. We've done one at NASCO for those of us who want to know what retirement pension is like. And we are also going to be doing one at Transport, the Liberia Business Registry, the Bureau of Further Statistics. These are intertwined with the work that we do at ALAC because it is for us to ensure that people have access to service delivery without hindrances. So yeah, we've done well in year 2. The services are across the board, information is across the board. However, to ensure that we can have the public have information, unhindered information, and participate when it comes to demanding for accountability and transparency in government.
Okay, so let me just talk about what Isaac talked about, because this platform, we've used this platform to talk about the Ministry of Transport, the Passport Division at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Vital Statistics Division at the Ministry of Health, and we called for the posting of this information so people can see them and follow the procedure to be able to access services. So we don't just talk, but we intervene. We talk about it. We said there was need for access to information. It's a right. It is not a privilege. It is a right. So those people who need services, when they go to these places, they lack information about everything regarding those services. So people exploit them. They call them expediters. They are standing all around. Go to the Ministry of Transport. They are there. Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they are there. Vital Statistics Division, they are there. So now the intervention is through the National Integrity Forum conglomerate of CSOs and integrated institutions, they've now erected symbols. So when you go to NASCOP, the National Social Security and Welfare Corporation, you're going to see symbol with all of the services being rendered by NASCOP and the procedure that you're supposed to follow. When you go to the Ministry of Internal Affairs, you will see a symbol indicating if you need marriage or what certificate is that?
Yeah, it's marriage certificate. It's
Marriage certificate, customary marriage certificate, or divorce certificate.
Yeah.
You can get it at the Ministry of Internal Affairs. So when you go there now, rather than having people going to do it for you and just exploit you, you can see what the procedure is. From step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. It can ease the burden of you paying excess money to people who got nothing to do but to just exploit your little earnings. So that is the intervention that we do. We don't just sit on this platform to just criticize and criticize. No, that's not what we do. Even when we issue press statements, we make recommendations. But it left with the authorities to consider those recommendations and work with them, but we will not cease making those recommendations. So I just wanted to make that clear so that you understand that CENTAL is just not an ordinary civil society organization. We are strategic, and we believe in what we do, and we believe that what we do will affect what the country do.
And so, remember the dip in when we erecting the signboard at the Ministry of Internal Affairs. The Minister proper was there, and he said, this is a tax assigned to us at the ministry here that we have not been able to deliver on at the ministry. And it is a hallmark for us that CENTAL has erected. And he said, he was clear. He said, those of you who stay on here and position yourself as expeditors, we will be watching you. And those of you who come to this ministry to get service, come here and read what is posted here. It saves you time. It saves you from being extorted and for being misled. And he was very clear. He said he was humble because I was told by one of his deputies that they went to a meeting and they were asking them, come to another panel, asking them, say, you do services over there. We have never seen the services that you do. And they said, we are working along with CENTAL. And so he was grateful. He said, CENTAL, like you said, it's not just talking. It's making impact. Because for us, the overall thing is, so yeah, we talk about services, and so what? And so we are not just talking, but we are making impact. Even in this month and next month, we are moving over to transport. We already have the services. We have produced the banner. Maybe by the end of this month, in the middle part of this month, we have transport. All of the fees for transport, different licenses, different offers, transport, give. All will come up. The Liberia business registry is another strategic area. Expeditors are all over the place. We are going to do that. The Bureau of Further Statistics, we are going to do that. And let's see whether when these things are posted, what we do next is that we monitor to see how effective it is being used. What it has mitigated the risk associated with people coming to get the service. And so yes, I just thought it just deeply.
Great. I mean, that's very important. That's very, very important. You so-called expediter, roll calling yourself expeditors. Your job is off. It's time to go and pack your bag, go sit down home and look for something else to do. You can sell cold water and get money. Start extorting the people. I mean, that's extortion. You can't do that. You can't get up in the morning and get, to the places just to extort and exploit the people, the little earnings. You need to pack your bag now and go home. Go and look for something else to do and stop stealing from the people. Now we want to open the line so that you can call and make your intervention. The number to call 0779 0000691. The program is Integrity Watch and is being aired on ECOWAS Radio 91.5 FM. In studio today are two members of the team from the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia, and they are. I will begin now with Dr. Akiah Precious Glay. She is the Gender and Inclusion Officer, and she also coordinates the Open Expenditure Initiative at CENTAL, and Attorney Isaac Nyantte Jr. is the coordinator of our Advocacy and Legal Advice Center. And they've been talking about activities CENTAL is doing. And he talked about the NIF, he talked about the Open Expenditure Initiative, he talked about how we're including gender in everything that we do, in making sure that we don't leave anyone behind. So the number to call again, 0779 0000691. You can call and make your point on the program. And we want to afford those who want to send text message. You can open the line to you for you to send a text message to 0886 474563. 0886 474563. That's the number for text messages. And the number to call 0779 000. That is 03 times 000 691. That's the number to call to be live on the program Integrity Watch. And like we said, Integrity Watch is a 1 hour radio program brought to you by the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia. Those of you following us online, we want to say thanks for being there. Please, you can leave your comment, and we're going to read out your comment to our guests so that they can answer your question or concern. Again, 0779 000 691, and we're talking about. I mean, as it let's.
Well, just to just get something.
Yeah.
One of the things is just to let the audience know that we are implementing a lot of activities. So when you hear us just talking NIF and gender and open expenditure, it doesn't mean that these are just the only activity. Under this program, we have a lot. The Art Club, we have JOSA and Art Club Integrity Club, and we have the Joint Anti-Corruption
The Joint Civil Society Anti-Corruption Initiative. So okay, there are, like Akiah talked about, we have different activities. Okay, we got a call on the line. Good morning. Your name and where are you calling from? Moses, let's hear you. Mm-hmm. Okay. 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 Okay, Moses. Okay. Correct. Okay. Thank you, Moses. Thank you so much. Your points are well noted. 0779 000 691. That's the number to call to be live on the program. Actually, you are making a point. And when the call came in, right? Oh, yeah, activities, and I just wanted to expand on that. So we do the integrity club that you talked about. We have integrity clubs at different universities, 4 different universities, and these university students go about into high schools to create awareness and sensitize their colleagues into communities to talk about integrity building. So we target the university students because the university students are at the middle level of society. When they leave the university, they are going into the larger society. So they either go into the public sector or private sector. So we have a call on the line. Let's take our second caller. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Your name and where are you calling from? Josiah, let's hear you. Mm-hmm. Okay, what I said divorce certificate. I said we have the procedure, how to obtain it. We place a signboard at the Ministry of Internal Affairs so that you can go and see what you need to know about the process in acquiring a certificate from the Ministry of Internal Affairs, whether marriage or divorce.
I mean, you can receive a certificate yourself, but what we are saying is that there's a process that leads to that. Before you did not know the process. Now we've outlined the process. You can go in person to receive it once you follow the process. Even if you are out of Liberia, you can receive that certificate once you follow that particular process that we have outlined. Go to the Ministry of Internal Affairs. It is there from steps 1 to the last step. You can receive a certificate, whether marriage or divorce.
Okay, Josiah. Thank you so much. Thank you. 0779 So we talked about the university students when they leave, either go to the private sector or public sector. Then they can also go to high school to create awareness. Then we also have the Joint Civil Society Anti-Corruption Initiative. So this brings together CBOs and CSOs from the communities. So these people they are people they interact with. They have been trained to go and have different engagements at the community level, and they've had legislative engagements as well. They've been able to engage with lawmakers. They presented petition to the lawmakers for the passage of anti-graft instruments, thanks to the lawmakers, even though, but they passed them. And we also have the open expenditure that they talk about. We have this radio program that will bring guests on this platform to talk about integrity building, how we all can work together to build integrity. I mean, there are different layers of activities that we are doing about making sure that we don't just talk about it, we don't just talk, but we make intervention. We make intervention so that we can help the government. We have a caller on the line. Good morning. The caller is off the line. Okay, the number again is 0779 let's talk a little bit about the gender issue, but let's see how do we at CENTAL have cross-cutting influence.
So yes, in our work at CENTAL, as we say, when we speak in corruption, we speak inclusion and equality actually, because the reason why we are here talking anti-corruption, we don't want corruption because we need services to be accessible to all persons, the basic necessities to be available to both male, females, and persons living with disability. So it is one of the cool things that CENTAL has been involved with. Whatever message we preached, whatever forums and meetings that are held, we take into consideration participants. Who are those people? And that's what we do. We do the mapping, the pre-mapping to understand who's coming at the forum. So we basically we have targets, even though at most times, when we say we want 50 male and 50 females, we might not get 50 female, but relatively we get enough numbers that, that make us to know that, well, people come and they participate. But again, as I said, we did a survey and among our participants, people that have attended our forums and meetings. So we selected those frequent names that we saw, and so they amount to 115. And those 115 persons in the 6 counties, we sent questionnaires to them to answer. I mean, these 115 persons are male and female, to tell them what they think about gender and what has changed since they've been hearing CENTAL's message, because we wanted the actual impact of our message to be felt. We create awareness on gender. We commemorated the 16 days of activism, but we wanted to know whatever we did, people were impacted. So yes, and they gave their view, and some persons, we had about 78% of those numbers telling us that, well, gender now, I understand that my wife should be empowered because, as I said, I understand. And some of them even said that they have now given business money to their wife. And some of them said they now send their wives to trade school to learn. Those people that I'm talking about is the rural, Riverside and Bapolu. So yes, these feedback tells that CENTAL has impacted not just about corruption, not just spreading the message, but we also get positive feedback, which has given us the energy to continue our work. Because
let's get your party comments.
Okay, so first of all, I would just like to say thanks for having me in studio, and thanks to the listener. And we hope to have a great time with you next time. We'll be here soon. So thank you again. I'm Dr. Akiah Precious Glay.
That's the doctor. Let's go to Isaac.
Yeah, but Sam, thanks for having us on this platform. Thanks for sharing the platform, Dr. Glay, and listeners out there. It has been a good experience. We hope to have another invite to talk more about the work we do at CENTAL. Thank you.
The program you've been listening to is called Integrity Watch. It's a 1-hour radio program brought to you by the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia. It is aired every Thursday on ECOWAS Radio 91.5 FM and is relayed on Prime FM in Manila. My name is Sam Zota. I'm the Media and Communications Officer at the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia. My colleague, Mark Buandao, has been behind the camera, making sure our visibility goes beyond the studio. Join us next Thursday for another edition of the program. Let us do and repeat is coming up. Goodbye.
Photos.